Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Blu-ray Hunter. I'm the Blu-ray Hunter, Jonathan Moody, and I've got a fun show for you guys. It's a challenge. It's the top 25 best films of the 80s challenge by Tim Talks Talkies, which is kind of hard to say. Tim Talks Talkies. Anyway, I am really excited about this challenge. I have some runner-ups, that because when I was doing it, I was trying to find a bunch of ones that I already own and whatnot, because I do own some of my favorite 80s films. And remember, this is a list of my best films of the 80s. This does not include, other people's ideas. Like I didn't even watch anybody's videos because I didn't want to have any sort of thought. But there were a couple that I'm pretty sure are going to still be on there. There are a couple that are not actually I don't have on Blu-ray or 4K, so I'm not going to be showing those off, but I will talk about them. And I'll probably put a little picture up like right next to me so you guys can see it. But aside from that, uh, the other ones you will see me hold up and everything. So speaking of so I'm gonna go through my I think four films that are actual runner-ups, and they aren't ones that I chose to do for the to do because when I started compiling this list, I kind of grew and then I remember things. I was like, so this is probably not the perfect definition of like what my top would be. I think a lot of people also aren't actually numbering them, from 20, but it helps me to just sort of do that. So when I say 25 to 1, it doesn't necessarily mean those are right now or will always be my top 25 films. I think the top five will sort of always be my top five. But aside from that, these aren't really always my favorite. So a couple you can see up there already. So we'll talk about those when they come up. I try to do this in a different place so you don't see my background because my wall is pretty much the shine of all my favorite movies. But shrine of all my favorite movies. All right, so first off are my runner-ups, and I'm gonna have to include Risky Business in this runner-up pile because I absolutely love Risky Business. It's a film I can watch repeatedly, but like not so much so like a lot of these 80s movies. There's a couple also I didn't include, including like The Breakfast Club, which I don't even have and everything, and I didn't put that in my runners up either. I love The Breakfast Club, but it's just not a movie that I constantly watch, and I think that's why it's a big problem why I haven't bought it on Criterion yet, because it's just not a movie that like calls to me to watch constantly. And I think I might have a copy of it on Blu-ray, but maybe I don't. I just haven't really like it's not something that I'm like, oh man, I'm in the mood for Breakfast Club. Same as I'm not always in the mood for Say Anything, but I love it. It's a great movie. Cameron Crowe did a fantastic job. This is his directorial debut, and it's a really cute comedy, and I love watching it. And if I'm in the mood to watch it, I'll have it. But really, and I'm not always in the mood to watch this. It's not something I just put on. Another movie is sort of something new that I got into, and I really like it, and I think it's a great film, and it's a great film of the 80s, but it's not my favorite, and it is Blowout, I think. Yeah, 1981. So this is 1981, and I mean, I like the movie a lot, and it's De Palma's like remake of Blow Up, but it's just not a movie that like I've watched over and over again. I just think it's a really good movie, and people who haven't gotten a chance to watch it should check it out. Another movie that I love to death, but just did not make the top 25. It was almost there, but then it got knocked off and everything is Harry and the Hendersons, a underrated comedy. If you haven't seen it, I used to watch this all the time, but I haven't really watched it as an adult as much. It's more a children's thing, and I just don't think it holds up nearly as well as when I was a kid. But basically, this family runs over Bigfoot, and he basically becomes one of the family and everything until they realize you really shouldn't have a Sasquatch as your pet. And it's cute. It's got John Lithgow and a big hairy, you know, guy, whatever, yeah, character. Melinda Dillon is in it. So, it's a fun, cute little movie. All right. So here it comes, my top 25. So I'm gonna go in order and I'm gonna look at these things here because once again, remember like it may differ and some of them are not. I don't actually have the Blu-ray for. So starting off is Raging Bull, which just got a 4K from Criterion. It is 1980, so barely made. A lot of these are actually 1980 too, or 1980 or 89. And so they're sort of like on the cusp of both 70s or 90s. In fact, if you had asked me to do my top 25 of 90, I could have found more, like it would have been quicker. I have more of my 90s movies on Blu-ray and 4K, and that's sort of my year. 80s I love sometimes, but not as much. But this movie is really good if you haven't seen it. Martin Scorsese does a fantastic job, and I believe there's like audio commentaries, yeah, including Scorsese and stuff in these things. So it's definitely it's almost like a film school in itself, like how to make a film, and it's well done, very well done. Almost 70s though, like it almost kind of feels 70s. All right. Well, speaking of going from one to the other, Batman 1989. This is the original Batman with Michael Keaton. Not the original from the TV show, but the original movie with that Tim Burton did. Um, it's number 24 because I really like it, but it's not something like it's not my favorite movie of all time. You know what I mean? It's like and or even my favorite of the 80s. I just really like it. I enjoy it. I have a fun time with it. I like Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson together. They work really well and it shows. Next is Who Framed Roger Rabbit? I'm gonna tell you guys the dates for all of these as well. It's just funny because they don't really say the dates on them that much. Now if you know me very well, you'll know that I'm a huge fan of Robert Zemeckis and this was just a really fun one. God dang, when was this? I want to say it was 1980. The thing keeps popping up 2013, but it's like I want to say 1986 or 80. Uh, Hold on, let me look it up real quick. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Jeez, why can't they just make it 1988? So once again, sort of getting close to 90s, but it is 1988, and I'm not going down. Like that seems kind of weird, 1989 to 1988. Just so happened that Roger Rabbit is also a movie that I really enjoy and I have a great time watching, but it's not something that is high or like high on my list or whatever. Another movie that's up there but not high on my list. Number 22 is Scarface. Al Pacino, Brian De Palma. Speaking of Brian De Palma from Blowout, Scarface is really fun. Uh, some people may have this like higher on their list. Um, I I forgot to put King of New York. King of New York, but I've only watched it once, so I can't. I don't. I feel like that'd be cheating. Only watched it once. I've seen this a few times. I really like this movie. It's really good. Well done. What year? I have to look these up every single time, don't I? See, don't freaking say the years on it. The original year drives me crazy. Why don't you just put the year on it? I think it's early 80s. I don't want to say 84. It says spring of 1980, but that doesn't mean that was the year. Scarface 83. Okay. 1983. There you go. Scarface. Oh boy. So this is gonna keep being fun. Um, let's see. Next, I think this is 1986. Let me check real quick before I even bring it up. I should have just wrote the dates on this thing before I started. This is 1985, and it is Real Genius. And this is the 4K. My friend actually bought the 4K Blu-ray and kept the Blu-ray. I have the 4K now, so I can always watch it, which is kind of sad. It doesn't have all the cool special features or anything. But it's got the movie, and that's all I really want. I mean, if I want to ever buy the Blu-ray, I will. I'll find it online or something. But right now, I'm very happy with the 4K of it. So 19, let's see, this one is 1984. This next one is 84, and that is Gremlins, which we just did for Hollywood Boulevard podcast. I think that's coming out like this month, and I'm really excited. Like I love this movie. I thought it was a lot of fun. It was darker than I remembered it being, and I really, really enjoyed it. I don't know. And people ask like Gremlins 1 or 2, and I probably would go this one because I feel like Gremlins 2, they just kind of went way off the rails for that one. Um, Next is a Joel and Ethan Coen movie. And they did a lot in the 80s, but their first one was Blood Simple, which is their first film that they ever made, and it's fantastic. And this Criterion disc is fantastic, and I love it to death. So there you go. All right. So, we're moving along, right along here. After Blood Simple is one of my, well, is actually my favorite John Carpenter film. And a lot of people go, "Oh, you like this more than was it? You like this more than uh Halloween?" And I would say, "Yeah, that's The Fog." John Carpenter's The Fog, which is 1980. So there you go. So far, I'm right. I keep getting worried that I might be off on dates. Oh, I know I'm right on this one. It's next time, but I don't know. Let's see. What is it? Okay, it's my birth year. 1982, and it is Fast Times at Ridgemont High, a classic flick. We did this also for a Hollywood Boulevard podcast, and I just love this movie. Just a great flick. All right. Next up is one of my favorite horror films, also. Another one of my favorite horror films, but it's 1987, and it's The Lost Boys. So there you go. The Lost Boys, 1987. Corey, and I had a blast with this movie. I always love it. Like it's one of those films I can watch over and over and over again and not get sick of. And I even remember the day I watched it. I was over at my like sister's house and I was watching babysitting for my niece, and it was on TBS for that whole dinner and a movie thing on TBS. And they were having steak through the heart tartar. So there you go. This next one I think is 85, I want to say. Yes, 1985, and it is The Goonies. Goonies is a classic. I mean, I rewatched it on 4K and it looks beautiful. I just it gives every time I watch it, it just gives me that feeling of when I was a kid and you would go exploring with your friends on their bikes and you would leave for hours and your parents will wonder where you were, but you didn't care because you were going on an adventure. I feel like kids couldn't relate to this today. I mean, their adventures are their video games and stuff and on their phones. I mean, it's though I have seen a lot of kids on bicycles and that always makes me happy. So keep letting your kids ride bikes, please. And my number 13 movie is the 1987 Stanley Kubrick flick, Full Metal Jacket. So there you go. Full Metal Jacket. First Stanley Kubrick, first, not the last. Stanley Kubrick up right here. So awesome. Yeah. So this is 1980. This is Evil Dead. Um, so that is number 12, Evil Dead. 1981. Sorry, 1981. I thought it was 1980, but it's 1981. Evil Dead. And then, interestingly enough, the Coen brothers, at least maybe Joel, but one of them worked as an editor for Evil Dead, and they became friends with Sam Raimi, and then they worked on Blood Simple, and then eventually put Sam, I think, in like the Hudsucker Proxy, if I'm correct. So yeah. So next is a movie that I watch almost every Christmas because it's a Christmas movie. And fuck you if you don't think it's a Christmas movie. Sorry, even Gremlins is a Christmas movie. I don't care what you say. But this movie, Die Hard, is a Christmas movie. If you don't think it's a Christmas movie, I don't know what's wrong with you. It takes place on Christmas. Just because they don't have like Santa or something, I don't know what you're expecting. But that's 1988's Die Hard, the first original movie with Bruce Willis. Yippee-ki-yay. Um, exactly. All right. That's number 11. My number 10 is Top Gun. What a classic. So up there with Die Hard. Actually beats Die Hard. I actually watched this a lot, and the new movie Top Gun Maverick, I think even beats that one, but it's high up there. All right. So next is a film, I think it's 1980. Okay, by the way, if that was 86. The next one I think is 88. That is Big. Another movie I watched like all the time. Literally all the time. Just I love this movie. If it's on, I'll watch it. If I'm in the mood, I'll turn it on. I mean, it's really good. Sorry about that. Next is the 1982 Blade Runner. This is the final cut. Sadly, I don't think they have any of the other ones on 4K or Blu-ray. Just as the final cut. Actually, it's making a Blade Runner on the second disc. So yeah, that's fantastic. So I I gave my dad as a present for Father's Day a copy of Blade Runner that had all of the cuts on it because he only likes theatrical, and I don't blame him because that's the best. But to me, I want it on 4K. I don't care which one it comes in. It would be nicer if it had all of them, like the Apocalypse Now one does. All right. So next up is a movie, also 1982, interestingly enough, E.T. Year I was born. E.T. came out and I came out, and the world was ruined. Uh, Great movie. Big part of my childhood. I always remember watching it, and it solidified my love for Reese's Pieces. Next is a Kubrick film, The Shining. So another Kubrick film. So we did, was it and this, yeah, this has got to be, yeah, 1980. 1980 just made the cutoff. It's gonna feel 70s, but it just made the cutoff. So Full Metal Jacket and this, but I swear to God, this is the best of the best, you know, when it comes to Kubrick's films. And that's number six. Number five, not picture, like I don't have a Blu-ray or a 4K of it. I need to get it, but it is this movie, A Christmas Story, which was I want to say 1984, but 83. So 1983, it's a movie that every year for Christmas, my parents would, I mean, it would be on TBS, so we'd have it on the background at the house and everything. And I think I just don't, I haven't bought the copy of it because it's like a movie that I have to watch on Christmas. And nobody tell me that's not a Christmas movie, you know. And I haven't bit the bullet to buy it yet, but I'm maybe this year I'll buy it just to have it, you know, to own it. So I do love it, and it's one of those classic films. I've got to interview Skip Farkas, so that was pretty cool. Um, so next, also not pictured is Back to the Future, and that's number four, and that was 1985 or 80. Back to the Future, 1985. You know, who's the president of 1985? Uh, Good God, who was the president? My brain is Richard Nixon, the actor. I bet no, it wasn't Richard Nixon. The fuck? Ronald Reagan. Fuck. The fuck is wrong with me? I'm gonna edit a lot of this shit out, so just get ready. There's gonna be a lot of fucking edits. Next, next up is my number three film of all time, and we're getting to my top three, baby, and you'll see them up there anyway. Number three is The Karate Kid, the movie that got me into karate, that just changed my life a lot. I mean, I owe a lot of my life to this movie. I love Cobra Kai. I love everything they've done with it. I wasn't a big fan of like Next Karate Kid that much. Like I thought it was okay, but it wasn't that great. And I refuse to watch the Kung Fu Kid, aka the Karate Kid remake that Jaden Smith. Nope. Nope. Jackie Chan. Nope. Nope. I could not do it. I love Jackie Chan, but what they did to that movie, what they did like and everything, I just nope, can't watch it. All right. And next is a movie that had like inspired me into acting, actually, is the movie that got me into acting and got me into, and I wanted to go into business just like them. That's Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters really it inspired me into acting because it started making me go, like, who are these people? Like, Bill Murray and Harold Ramis and all those people and Dan Aykroyd. I wanted to know more about film and everything from that movie, and it was so spectacular. Everybody talks about like Raiders of the Lost Ark, which is not on my list. Star Wars, you know, Empire Strikes Back, not on my list. All those films, and because this is the movie that really inspired me into like like into acting and to film. You know, I started realizing you can like how wonderful it is that somebody was able to make a movie this amazing and stuff. So last but not least, obviously not least because it's my number one pick, and it's a movie that I always had on for the rest of my life. I've talked about this in other videos, and I just absolutely love it. And it's one of my favorite films of all time, uh, up there, and it is Princess Bride. Just what a wonderful movie. So many great quotes, so many great characters. I once again I'm gonna explain this because I did that Red 9 video and I had this up there for with Ghostbusters and Karate Kid. And the big thing with it was that this movie really I would watch it on repeat. I still know every line of this movie. If you know, if I were to put it on, I quote everything right before the person says the lines. Because I love this movie. I would watch it like all the time through sickness and in health, through, you know, death do me part. This movie is the movie that I will always cherish and always love. And so that's it. That's my top 25. Yeah. So there you go. I had some really fun picks, I think. Probably there's going to be a bunch that like Back to the Future and maybe Gremlins and Goonies and stuff that a lot of people are gonna pick, but I mean, and Princess Bride maybe, but stuff like Evil Dead or Fog or maybe Fast Times, Raging Bull, maybe stuff like that. Unless the people are doing stuff more on like just the best films, period. I think it's just the best films that I love, my best films, my sort of my favorites, because if I said the best films, I don't know what I mean. I can't really say because there's so many 80s movies I haven't seen. So I can't say that these are the best films, but I can say these are the best films that I've seen, that I love, that I adore. And yeah, they're just amazing. You'll shoot your eye out, all these different movies that are just so much fun. The 80s was a great time for film. Uh, it was probably one of the last gasps, that in the 90s and then 2000s and on, it was just superhero movies pretty much now. It doesn't feel like they're making movies like The Princess Bride anymore. And I feel like a film like that should get made again, like something just sweet and magical and makes you feel good. And every line is, one of the best. And that's hard. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a writer. I know. Making a movie that's quotable, hard as hell. Not the easiest thing in the world, but it's fun. It is a blast, and I love it. And I hope uh, I hope I continue to watch these movies or watch more from the 80s that I haven't ever seen. I do a show called Film Freaks, and Paul shows me tons of movies from the 80s that I've never seen or never even heard of. And I love them, but I mean, I only watched them once, so I can't say like, oh man, this has become my favorite film of all time. I'll watch it over and over again. Once again, if you get to, you have it for the 90s, I have a ton of movies from the 90s that I can pick. 70s are a little harder for 25, but 90s, even 2000s, 2010s, maybe even I can pick out 25. But I think this was a great group of films. If you look right there, yeah. So there you go. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me on this journey into my top 25 films. So I will be back again soon for another video. This has been like a good amount. Like I've done a good amount this week. So I'm trying to put out as many videos as I can so that you guys have content for this channel and aren't subscribed for nothing. So keep checking back and letting me know what are your top 25 films of the 80s. And thank you, Tim Talks Talkies. I love your channel, man. I watch you all the time. I don't comment. I need to comment more. I need to engage in conversation with you guys because this is it. Like this is my favorite stuff. I love doing this, I love being a part of the community. Uh the collector community is amazing and always a lot of fun. So thank you guys so much and hope you guys enjoyed this video and give me a thumbs up if you liked it and hit the notification bell if you're subscribed to let me, to know when there's more of my content coming out because there's going to be more content coming out. I might even do some lives at some point. I don't know if you need 1,000 subscribers yet for live or not, but I'm going to do some lives. I'm going to do a lot of other things. It's going to be a lot of fun. This year is going to be, or this month even, it's going to be a big month, and I have some big plans for this channel. So thank you guys for checking this out and hope you enjoyed it. Bye.